No need, because I'm going to stop you, I say to her as seriously as I can, even though I'm not sure that I can. Are you serious? Mashai says, holding in her laughter. I'm going to stop all of this, I say after looking back down at the captives. Mashai swings her leg at me, and the sole of her boot stretches out, turning into a blade. It cuts across my face, and I shout in pain, covering my face with my hands. I can feel her stab me in the body 3 times with that blade. Kuiga jumps in, and the two start fighting around me. My body heals itself quickly, and I can see Mashai toying with Kuiga again. No, that's not what she's doing. Mashai is avoiding Kuiga. She won't even block a hit. It's like she doesn't want Kuiga touching her. No time to think. If we're going to win, we need to attack together. I rush in, hoping to grab and hold Mashai in place so Kuiga can knock her out. Before I can grab her, 6 thin, long needles come out from her hair, arch down towards me, and stab into my arms and upper body, pushing me away. I then see that her crazy hairstyle is being held together by some metal hair clips and small chains that I didn't notice before. The needles quickly retract back into the clips. I've been thinking of a way to restrain you, and now I think I'll use the one that'll be the most fun, Mashai says, and then those needles from her hair clips come back out and twist around each other, creating a giant smiley face. The face bites down on Kuiga, lifting her off her feet and above Mashai's head, with Kuiga's lower half sticking out. Is her upper body in some pocket dimension? While looking up, I see Bodaka and Arano still fighting, and Bodaka is leading him upwards. He jumps from one cage to the next, and Arano is following him. Why is Bodaka doing that? While I'm watching that, I'm distracted, and Mashai reaches out, grabs my neck, and lifts me off my feet. The bracelet on her wrist turns into a set of handcuffs, except one cuff is on her wrist, and the other is around my neck. There, you're both captured. She'll join my collection, and you... well, we'll find where you belong. No, not like this, I struggle. I try to struggle, but the cuff around my neck tightens and chokes me. I can't get away. While struggling, I see something off in the distance. It's flying towards us. It's behind Mashai, so she hasn't noticed it. The thing is another airship, though way smaller than the one above us. This airship is orange, and its shape reminds me of a yacht. Several red beams streak across the sky from Sidon's ship, aiming for the orange one. It evades them with amazing precision. One does graze the side, but doesn't slow it down. The lasers alert Mashai to the approaching ship, and she turns to see it pull up right next to us. Oh, what now? Mashai groans before pressing the tip of her tail against a small device in her ear. Hey, pause the cages. Something annoying is happening. I'll deal with it. After that, all the cages stop moving and remain still, suspended in midair. A hatch on the top of this new airship opens, and someone climbs out. Hey, excuse me, we're just here to pick up that thing you have there. It's a male criminal, red skin, looks young despite his long white hair done in a braid that he has draped over his left shoulder. He's wearing black clothing except for the white shirt under his jacket. He has several items, some look like weapons, strapped all over him. Do you have any idea what you're doing? Mashai shouts at him. You've entered an active Sidon operation. Surrender yourself now and it'll just be 100 years of torture. Resist and I'll see you lose limbs. Sorry, Agent Mashai, but none of that's going to happen. We're just here to take that, he says, pointing to me. You know my name, Mashai says, sounding shocked. This guy then slides down the front of his ship, stepping onto the cage with us. You didn't think that just because you were new meant you were secret. We know who every agent is and what they can do. You're from the Phantom Nation, aren't you? Mashai starts to shriek. She's completely lost her composure now. She lowers her arms so my feet are back on the cage. Geez, you agents are so paranoid. Not everyone who knows you is from that place. I'm Tefano. And once you hand over that, we'll leave and you can get back to whatever awful thing you're doing here. Make things difficult and it just won't go well for you. He says, and he sure sounds confident in himself. You're not going anywhere. You'll tell us everything about your nation. Mashai grabs the side of her dress and flings it at Tefano, but he quickly throws a small capsule that he was hiding in his hand the entire time. It bursts right in front of Mashai's face, covering it with a thick black powder. She starts coughing and sneezing. The face from her hair clips spits out Kuiga before returning to normal, as does her bracelet, freeing me. Tefano reaches out, grabbing Mashai by her torso, lifting her up over his head, and throws her off the cage. That should take care of her. I'll be more famous after killing an agent. While falling, the links of the chain on her tail turn into little arms that reach out and stab the nearest cage below us. I'm surprised seeing that Mashai's tail is strong enough to hold her whole body up. The remaining black powder on her face comes together, turning into a giant ball that falls off her. Oh, that's a letdown. Alright, let's get going. Stefano yells before grabbing my arm. He's strong, but to my surprise, I'm able to keep him from pulling me along. Please don't leave us, I hear someone shout from inside the cage. Hey, hold on, we need to help these people, I say to Stefano, hoping he'll want to help. We're not being paid a large fortune to help them. Hurry, your creator is waiting for you. I pause hearing him say that. The guy who did this to me? I could get all the answers I need if I go with him? Would everything be solved? Can Quiga come too? I ask, seriously considering his offer. Please don't leave us here. You have to do something, anything. I hear the desperate pleads of the people in the cage. No, I can't just abandon people screaming for help. I can't bring myself to leave them. How can anyone just walk off, leaving others to suffer in fear? I don't know what I can do, but I have to do something. Sorry, I can't go. I can't leave these people here like this. We don't have time to argue. Our employer said you'd come once we told you we're bringing you to your creator. Stop being difficult, Stefano shouts, pulling me along. Look, I really want to go, but I can't walk away from what's happening here. Why don't you help me? We don't have the means to stay here long. I was only sure that I could get Mashai away from you. I'm not sure I can beat her in a drawn-out fight, Stefano says, getting angry. Of course you can't. An agent isn't someone who can be beaten, especially not against a single person, Mashai says, having made it back to us. Now Quiga and I have Stefano in front of us and Mashai behind us. This isn't the situation that warrants it, but I'll go all out if you push me. So surrender and accept your Mashai stops talking, distracted by what's happening above us. We watch Adano fall on top of the cage we're on. Adano, what are you doing? Did you lose? Mashai screams, sounding completely unhinged. Oh yeah, he's the big loser. I made him fall and he fell on his face, Bodaka shouts from above us. No, I slipped. You didn't make me fall. Nothing is over, Adano shouts back to him. If you don't tear that random person's head off in the next 15 minutes, your future will be in serious question, Mashai angrily says to Adano, who is quick to get back to Bodaka. You'll have to be quicker than that. Once I get in your ship, I'll take control of the cages. Our soldiers will stop you, idiot, Adano shouts back at him. I know they can't fire their weapons with deadly force inside ships. I also know that a control panel is right next to that door above me. I'll reverse the cages and open their doors before they or you can stop me. Is this the quality of agents Sidon has these days? You're running this operation like a joke, Stefano comments with a chuckle at Mashai. Quiga, stop Adano! I shout to her, wanting her to help Bodaka get control of the cages. He's in a ryokan with Bodaka. I can't interrupt it. Quiga replies, and both Stefano and Mashai agree? How can three people so different agree on this? I'd go and slow Adano down, but I don't want to leave Quiga alone with Mashai. Then let's go up there with him, I shout, and we both start jumping from one cage to the next with Stefano and Mashai after us. These two are too fast, and they catch up to us. Stefano swings a thin chain at me, and it wraps around my arm. He tries to pull me away. With a swing of her arm, Quiga is somehow able to cut the metal. Mashai grabs the side of her dress and flings it at Quiga. It extends towards her and glows with heat. I reach out, grabbing it to keep it from touching her. It burns my fingers, but I tear this part off. I watch Mashai's dress grow it back. Stefano turns his attention to Mashai, throws a small pilot-sized item at her. It bursts into a flash of light. The light blinds her, and Stefano thrusts the knife at her face. Mashai has her hands covering her eyes, and one of the bracelets on her wrists transforms into a round shield, and a knife bounces off it. She must have predicted that. Now I can't think of a way we could beat her. I don't like this feeling of powerlessness. While those two fight over me, we turn to jump to the next cage, but I'm knocked down. Mashai hit me in the back with that chain on her tail. Ugh, that pain stings. Your name is Vayne, right? Your maker told me. You have to trust me. Stefano shouts, and I think that does prove he's legit, but that wasn't the issue. Who is it? Who is the creator? Was it Udo? Regora? Soisei? Who neglected the controllers in its brain? Whoever it is must be in serious trouble by now, since Udma has kept this failure a secret from us. It's nice to hear the person who did this to me will get punished for it, even if for the wrong reason. Several arms are created out of Mashai's clothes that reach for Stefano. He jumps back off the edge, but grabs it to keep from falling and avoids the hands. He points a gun at Mashai, holding it in his tail, and shoots at her. A smaller version of that smiley face is created from Mashai's hair clips in an instant and eats the bullets. Stefano swiftly pulls himself back up. If we keep hanging around these two, things won't end well for us. I look around and notice the orange airship following us, and I get an idea. Hey, Stefano, I'll go with you. Finally, jump on the ship. Stefano shouts, avoiding a blade hidden in Mashai's ponytail that she swung at his face. We jump on top of the ship. The door isn't open. Just pull the handle. It's not locked. That's all I needed to know. I pull the hatch open and we jump in and slam it shut before Stefano can get in. There are two handles on the inside of the door. Quiga quickly slides them to either side to bar the door. Now to find the cockpit and take control. You don't think there are more than one person in here? I hadn't considered that before jumping in. Quiga just shrugs and then runs off and I follow her. Does she know where the cockpit is? We go down ladders and stairs until bursting into an open room with a windshield that's half the size of a movie screen. There are two chairs at the front. The one on the left has trash and stains all around it, while the one on the right is perfectly clean. I soon notice the chair on the left starts to shake. I can see someone sitting on it through the gap between the seat and the back. We see you. Who are you? I ask, wondering who could be there. They don't answer. I take a step forward, and I hear a meek little squeak. I reach out and grab the chair and spin it around to see a female criminal. She has blue skin and orange hair. Her hair is really full, long, and tied together at the ends. She has a pair of shorts and a long-sleeved shirt on with some simple slip-on shoes. Don't kill me, she shrieks, startling me. Calm down, I'm not going to kill anyone. I just need to take control of this ship. You can't do that. Tefano is out there. He might fall off. We need you to fly us up to that ship so we can free these people. So either move aside or do that. Okay, I'm not a fighter, so please don't hurt me. She's then quick to act, raising the ship quickly, pushing any cages she bumps into aside. My name is Achime. What's yours? She says, clearly scared. I guess that's why she's trying to become my friend. I'm Vayne, she's Quiga, and we're not going to hurt you. We just want to help these people. I think you're what we were hired to retrieve. We really shouldn't be messing with Saiten any more than this. Hold on, who hired you? I don't know. They contacted us anonymously through the Cycorg network. We don't care who our clients are so long as they can pay. Where were you hired to take me? I don't know. Tefano handles the details and does everything. I just like to fix and fly this ship. She sounds like she's about to start crying, so I decide to drop it for now. She's so scared. We're so close to the airship now. It looks like we might be able to save the people, and then I can go with these two to get some answers. I see Bodaka, and he's about to reach the doors. Arano is right behind him, though. Ah! Achime screams, and I snap out of my train of thought as Mashai just drops onto the windshield. She bends down and taps it with the tip of her claw, while smiling sinisterly at us. She leans down, placing a finger and thumb on the glass, and in an instant the windshield is gone, and Mashai is holding a small clear crystal ball between her thumb and finger, and she steps onto the dashboard. You know, because of your intrusion, you're making this take longer, and that'll reflect poorly on me. What's most annoying is that I don't think any of you can appreciate that. Mashai says to us, sounding calm, but she can't be that calm. She walks over the controls, stepping onto the floor next to Achime and right in front of me. Achime curls up into a ball in her seat. I'm sorry. Please don't hurt me or our home. Achime meekly pleads, and I think living in a flying RV must be really fun. I then start thinking about the cons. You'd have to constantly get fuel and water and clean out the septic system. My thoughts are interrupted by Mashai. In an instant, the ball Mashai made from the windshield stretches out like a spike, stabbing through Achime's body and the back of her chair. She screams, falling to the floor in pain. Her blood is quickly pooling around her. She just got a hole bigger than a quarter punched in her. The spike quickly withdraws back into a ball. Your precious home just stabbed you. See, what's going to happen to me is going to be worse than that, so... The ball turns into a spike again, this time stabbing Achime in her right leg. Hey, stop it! You're going too far! I shout at her, ready to jump in and do something, but I stop remembering she can do anything, and I can't just run at her. Don't worry, I'm going to be doing this to you two as well. Achime! Tefano shouts as he jumps down through the same open space Mashai made. He moves to attack her, but she sidesteps to avoid him. He runs past Mashai to pick up Achime and carry her to the back of the cockpit. Hey, check this out, Mashai says as she holds the glass ball out in her open palm. It grows into a giant rectangle before becoming increasingly thick. So fast those two couldn't react in time, and now they're pressed between this giant glass block and the metal wall. I can now squeeze some answers out of you. Now tell me who controls your phantom nation. Where are they? Who are their allies? She slowly applies the pressure. If they don't talk, she's going to kill them. I run over to her without thinking, but I'm going to do something. I can't just watch two people be crushed to death. I throw a punch at Mashai's face, but she doesn't even move. The end of her dress lifts up, blocking her face, and changes into some kind of metal. When my fist hits it, I can feel the bones of my hand break. I shout in pain, but stop when I hear the muffled cries of those two. They're not going to answer her questions. They'd rather die. At this moment, I find that admirable. I don't want them to die, not like this. I can feel the bones of my right hand healing. but the aching, numbing pain is still there. I don't wait or think. I take another shot at Mashai. Her dress lifts up again, but this time my hand goes through it and I hit her in the side of her face as hard as I can. She falls to the floor, blood running from her nose and mouth. The moment she takes her hand off the windshield, it returns to its original form. I notice my forearm turned red, but the redness quickly fades to black and the blackness crumbles off me and blows away in the wind. Not able to fit in this space, the windshield cracks and shatters against the metal walls it's pressing against. The shards fly everywhere. I take about 3 shards to the body. Lying on the floor, I start pulling the shards out. I feel like I'm dying, but that feeling soon goes away. I see that Achime and Tefano weren't hit by any of the large shards. Quiga is pulling a few small ones out of her arms and face. Mashai is still on the floor, not moving. Did I hurt her that badly? And did she just let those 6 shards stab into her? Well, those 3 should be fine. With the windshield missing, I think I can climb out and get into the airship above us. I put a foot on the console to climb out, but Mashai reaches out, grabbing my arm. I turn to look at her, and she looks extremely angry. I almost don't recognize her with the bruises from me hitting her, the blood all over her face, and that scowl. "Do you have any idea what you've done to me?" she shrieks at me with searing rage. "You've ended my life!" "What are you talking about?" I blurt out, not sure what's going on, but feeling very uncomfortable. "I'm an agent of Satan. We are what we are because we're perfect in everything we do. We set an example for our people. I toyed around with you all for fun, because I knew I could control the situation. But they showed up, and you punched me through solid tritium, the strongest metal on the planet. You weren't supposed to do that." She's shaking me at this point. "I can't be an agent if I'm not perfect. Being injured by someone, especially something inferior, makes me not perfect. They'll strip me of my title, rip the Zir stone from my body. I could be killed or banished in shame, and it's all your fault." She lets me go and starts taking a few steps back. "You have to be overreacting. No one's perfect. We all make mistakes," I say, trying to calm her down. "All agents are perfect. They do everything flawlessly and without delay. I failed. I'm no longer an agent." "Come on, just because you got punched? I'm sure that'll heal soon and then no one will know." "You think I would keep a secret from my nation? My people? How dare you suggest it?" Mashai gets on one knee, pressing her fists against the floor. The metal all around us turns blue and soft. The hole where the windshield was closes and seals. All the surfaces in here are starting to pulsate. Did she bring the ship to life? Branches of flesh sprout out, tipping with sacs that inflate and deflate. I realize what she's doing. I think we're in a giant lung that's sucking the air into those sacs, leaving us to asphyxiate. I take a step towards Mashai. I have to stop her, but I fall to my hands and knees. I can't breathe. I can't move. I collapse on the floor, and I can see Quiga, Tefano, and Achime also dying on the floor. My vision is fading, and yet I can hear some sort of squeaking sound, and it's getting closer. I black out and lose all my senses. I wake up to the sound of sneezing. Opening my eyes, I see Mashai up on her feet, sneezing uncontrollably. There are also several fuzzy, squeaky balls of different colors bouncing around here. "My chizzies!" Achime screams. The ship has returned to normal. These fuzzy puffballs are the size of basketballs. Are those her pets? While I wonder about that, I see Mashai is still sneezing a lot. Were these puffballs sucked in here from the other room? I think Mashai is allergic to them. While thinking about it, Tefano forces himself to his feet and kicks Mashai in the side of her head, knocking her out. He looks back at Achime, who is still pretty hurt. I take this chance to make my move. Turning around, I look out the hole where the windshield was. I can see Bodaka fighting with Arano on top of the cage that's directly under the open doors of the airship, with several soldiers staring down from it, watching them. "Quiga, we need to help Bodaka." I see both Bodaka and Arano are pretty equal. This fight could go on for several more minutes. "No one likes people who butt into a ryokan," Quiga says, and I still don't get what the big deal is. "We don't have time. We can't waste this opportunity and wait for that to end. Besides, didn't you want practice?" I can't believe I just said that. I'm so desperate to get through this that I'm trying to manipulate Quiga into fighting. Also, I think she has more fighting experience than I do, so it'll be easier for her. "All right," Quiga says, not sounding very enthused. She jumps out of the ship and then from cage to get to Bodaka. I look to see Tefano struggling to drag Mashai's body up to the control panel. "If you had just gotten on when you were supposed to, none of this would have happened. Our ship is a wreck. We're both severely injured, and now you're probably not going to help me throw her body outside before she wakes up." "Yeah, that's not something I would want to do, but I do want you to tell me who hired you and where you're supposed to take me." Like I'm going to say that out loud with an agent right here, conscious or not. Hey, what are you doing? I hear Baraka shout, and I look back to see Kuiga standing behind Arano as he's falling off the cage. He's losing a lot of blood from a huge wound on his back. You just interfered in a ryokan! Baraka shouts, sounding really shocked and upset, like Kuiga just broke a major law. I've never seen anyone do that. That branch is messed up, Tefano says, and I'm confused that he would refer to Kuiga like that. Baraka walks up to Kuiga and punches her so hard in the face that I can see blood running out of her mouth. Why did Baraka do that? I jump out and onto the cages to get to them. I jump to a second one, and I see Baraka and Kuiga jump into the airship, followed by the sounds of fighting. Those soldiers aren't shooting their lasers, but I hear the sounds of some other weapons being used. You're not getting away! I look back to see Mashai on her knees on the orange ship just outside the gap she made. What happened to Tefano? No matter what, my life is over now. If I die, it'll be knowing I killed you in the most horrifying way. Mashai wipes some blood from her mouth and flings it onto the closest cage. She then holds out her hand, and I watch as her skin turns dark before going completely black, blood pouring out of every orifice on her face. Why is that happening? The metal of the cage her blood landed on starts to bend and twist. It becomes an orb that shoots out strands that stick to the other. Must be 50 cages nearby, including the one I'm standing on, and pulls them all to it. The metal all melds together, and I can hear the screams of the people slowly getting muffled before going completely silent. Are they dead? The surface under my feet is moving so much I slip off. While falling, I see Mashai go limp, and she falls off the orange ship. I land on top of one of these slanted buildings. I didn't see where Mashai landed. I can feel so many broken bones. I can't get up. I lay there, and I look up at that shifting mass of metal above me. It transforms into a giant monster on 2 legs with a huge alligator-like mouth. It falls to the ground, crashing into the buildings, destroying everything around it. It sees me right away and charges right straight at me. My bones have healed enough. I get to my feet and run. I jump over the edge as the building behind me is destroyed by the monster, crashing through it. I hit the street, feeling the bones in my legs shatter. At the same time, the monster finishes plowing through the building. My bones quickly heal, and I endure the pain to start running down the street. The monster chases me, destroying the buildings on both sides of the street as it goes. It reaches down with its mouth, trying to catch me in its jaws. When it does that, I can hear and feel the screams of fear and pain from the people trapped inside. Those screams are causing a splitting pain through my head. I feel the jaws snap behind me, just barely missing me. I can't outrun it much longer, and it keeps aiming its mouth at me, so I'm constantly feeling the pain tearing through my head. I glance back over my shoulder to see the back of its mouth is filled with pipes and horns that have meshes in the back of them. It's on top of me. Its open jaws are right above me. It's about to bite down and trap me in that echo torture chamber. Right before it can trap me in its mouth, the Saitan airship crashes down on it, the city, and me. I'm in a black void. I see a large set of eyes appear above me, along with a giant mouth grinning. You knew you were causing all that damage and you didn't care. What are you? Where am I? The face just smiles and then fades away. I wake up. Everything is mostly dark, but I see a few streams of light in the distance above me. My body feels numb, but I'm able to force enough of the debris away so that I can start climbing up to the light. After a while, I make it to the surface to see the city, the airship, and the monster are all destroyed. My brain feels like goo that's swirling around in my skull. I need to find Kuiga and the others. After wandering around for what seems like hours, I find my way back to the entrance of the city, that big open plaza. I see the people fleeing from the city, some in damaged vehicles, others on foot. I'm glad the people survived, even though they all look hurt. There are some surviving soldiers, too, who are rounding up as many people as they can. Urano is leading them, despite his fall and back injury. No sign of Mashai. I even noticed Tefano's orange ship in the wreckage. My head is still hazy, so I don't know what I'm thinking when I walk up to him. Oh, the disobedient one. How did you survive? Hey, where is that nasty branch, or Bodaka? Our Ryokon still isn't over. Before he can finish, I punch him in the face. I tried to channel the same strength I did when I hit Mashai. I could feel it, but I couldn't bring out all of it. It's easier to do when I don't think about it. My hit sends Arano to the ground. This surprises the soldiers. Run! I shout to the captives, and they all scatter. The soldiers try to round them up, but they all slip away. Having forgotten to run, the soldiers raise their weapons at me. I'm not sure what to do now. Miga, Terate, and Gura jump out from behind some wreckage. They have their own weapons, and they start shooting at the soldiers, though they're shooting bullets, not lasers. Kiruki pulls the craft up, and they all jump off the debris and onto the top of it. Get on, stupid! Kaduki shouts from the driver's seat. He opens the door and I scramble on board. Kaduki then drives away, swerving back and forth to avoid the lasers. I see the three slide down the ladder from the roof. That was insane, Mika squeals with excitement. Don't know what you did, but whatever it was, you did good, Terate says, slapping me on the back. I've never seen anything like that. You made Satan look like idiots, Gura says, sounding really impressed instead of her usual rudeness. The weirdo just got lucky, Kaduki says, and I can tell he still doesn't like me. What caused the ship to fall? I ask, wondering about that. Wait, hold on. What about Quiga and Bodaka? I left to secure the craft and keep it out of sight. Once the ship fell, I found Quiga barely conscious. She told me where Bodaka was. He was unconscious. I had to carry them both back here by myself. No help from anyone else, Gura says, complaining about it for some reason. We were still getting ourselves out of the box, Mika says with a smile on her face. We'll have to ask Bodaka about how he made the ship fall when he wakes up. Him being able to do that is why we trust him, and we have a chance to win, Mika says happily. They're back in the rooms, Terate says, and I remember there being 2 bedrooms in the back of this thing. I'm about to go check on Quiga, but I notice all the people fleeing the city out into the wilderness. It's amazing how they all survived that. The criminal body must be really tough. I then focus on the destruction. Did we destroy their city? Don't worry about it. Trust me, they're all way happier with this outcome, Mika says, coming up behind me to put her arms around me. It's nice that she wants to comfort me. Your fancy clothes are so soft. Never mind. I notice Haraito being carried out, so that old guy survived too. Of course, Mika is right. Getting free is probably worth the loss of their homes. I'm sure they can rebuild everything someday. I walk back to check on Quiga. She's laying on a bed strapped to it. I assume they did that to keep her from falling off when they have to drive erratically. This also makes a good start for our revolution. Too bad our leader's out cold. I hear Gura says in that deadpan voice. Perhaps Mika is right. Maybe we do have a chance. But poor Quiga looks terrible. So bruised and bloody. I look for a rag or something I can use to clean her up. Let's take Bodaka to recover Adawacho, I hear Mika asks, and everyone seems excited about that idea. I look back down at Quiga to see she's awake. She's crying silently with tears running down her face. Are you all right? I couldn't do anything against that agent, and I had to sneak up behind the lesser. Once Bodaka tells the others I interrupted his ryokan, they're going to get rid of me. I'm useless. I'm never going to. What's the point? She starts crying more. Geez, she's really beating herself up over not being able to beat those people up. No, you're not useless. You're the first person I met here. You're my friend. You have value to me. I'll make sure they won't get rid of you, and if they do, I'll go with you. When I take time to think about it, walking away from a revolution to be a vagrant with Quiga won't get me anywhere. I'm sure they won't kick her out for helping Bodaka. Quiga doesn't smile, but she stops crying and rolls to face away from me. They didn't tighten those straps very well. That was an insane experience. I almost forgot that someone calling themselves my creator is looking for me. Hopefully they'll try again so I can figure some things out. I also want to figure out what Quiga's problems are. I can tell there are things she wants to tell me that she's holding in. At least I know now that I do have some power. Why do I have it? And how do I fully control it? Chapter 3. End.